Hey there, welcome to SharkCast, a podcast dedicated to the greatest sporting club in the history of the world, the mighty Cronulla Sharks. This flagship edition of the show is brought to you by Dyson Logistics, the Royal Motor Yacht Club in Port Hacking, and Jason Hawes at Cripps and Cripps Real Estate. I am Sam Shinazi. That is Josh Bolling. We're here to discuss all things Cronulla Sharks, and we're going to have some fun doing it, and we hope you enjoy what we're going to talk about. Josh, we were victorious on the weekend. We won 34-22, high-scoring game, bit of a roller coaster, really, but never let that lead go. What were your initial thoughts about the game in general?
Hard to be disappointed. I think it was. I was watching with Alex, my partner, and my roommates, and we were just saying, like, when that first half, when the hooter went, we just like took a breath because it was just so intense and it was end to end and it was really entertaining. Probably one of the better games of the season across the board, and really really needed. I thought, like, the energy was low in the group chats and the forums and all that sort of thing. So I think it was a really important win just to get the vibes back.
Yeah, well said. And I think the reason was just the way they lost the Dolphins. It wasn't even the score in the end. It was just that flatness, and no one could explain it. There were different theories. But, we saw pretty high energy from the start, and it didn't really let up. It was a warm day down there. High energy, as you said, ball in play a lot. And to come out of that with a 12-point buffer, I was pretty happy. I know that the first 10 minutes was a bit circumstantial with Nico doing that excellent thing and catching Horsburgh offside, but you do what you do. You play who you play against. And I was so happy we went ahead with the 12-0 league, because I remember in years gone by, Josh, even not so much under Fitzy, but maybe his first year and going back, we were one of those teams that didn't know how to play with 12 men, against 12 men, I should say. But that's out the window. Like, they were just clinical in that opening 10, and it kind of won them the game in the end.
Yeah, it was interesting. I saw a lot of people saying, the Sharks got lucky, or they only won because of the sin bin. But it's like, we earned that. Nico was very smart. Like, the second he did it, I was like, that's genius. Like, just to run straight at him, knowing that Corey would not have been able to help himself. And like, you make your own luck. And I thought it was brilliant, and we took advantage of it. A lot of teams wouldn't or can't or don't. I thought that opening 30 minutes we were outstanding.
Yeah, there were no shots for goal. It was all just attack, and it really paid off. And we had, two at least tries disallowed. Yes. So probably should have been in the 40, 46 territory. And that's why I was pretty happy that we won, because we were the better team. We deserved it. Canberra never went away, to their credit. And we had that weird thing when Nico missed her in front, and it was a 10-point ball game with 10 to go. It was like, that's not ideal. But even at that point, it was like, no, it'll be okay. Get through a few sets, and it was fine. So better team won on the night, which was awesome. And a great way to turn around that Dolphins game, because it was almost a 180 there, just as far as attitude and particularly energy with the ball. I loved kicking to Stone Street, and even when he didn't attack the ball, he and Iro were there to squash the guy near the goal or in goal. So they were starting their sets from like either a dropout or from, a couple meters out. And yeah, very thorough performance, I thought.
Yeah, and I thought the inclusion of Teague Wilton to start was massive for us, because he is, if he's not the captain, but he feels like it. He's just got such a tenacity, and he just gives off leader vibes. And I think we need someone to just really put us on the straight and narrow and just be like, no, this is how we're doing it, and just coming out instantly, just trying to whack blokes. And the tough carries, I think we really missed from him. Like, there was a couple of times where we got pinned on our 10, and he'd just put his hand up and get battered and make it, 5-10 meters or so. And I thought him and Billy Burns were unbelievable on the weekend. I thought some of their better games they've played.
Yeah, it was interesting how close parts of the game replicated the final last year, because both Teague and Billy scored and both played pivotal roles in both games. And great coaching there by Fitzgibbon. People were a bit worried about what he was going to do there, but he rolled the dice. He had Teague start. Billy started. Britton was out for a week. He's back this week. We'll talk about that a bit later. But yeah, Teague was a welcome inclusion. I just love the way he plays. And, I think for us to get to another level, for us to get the critics off our back, it's really going to be guys like Teague Wilton, Billy Burns, Jesse Colquhoun, who roll the sleeves up, don't care if they're down by 10 or up by 10. They're just going to play the same way no matter what. And I think they're the guys that get you out of trouble. And yeah, super happy that they're there. Super happy you mentioned those guys. Our man at the back, Will Kennedy, continues to defy odds. I don't know what the odds are, but there's some sort of odds there apparently throughout his career. But another fantastic game. He finished with a try assist, line break assist. He should have had another one, but it was taken away because of the Katoa heel situation. I think almost faultless. Maybe there was an error towards the end for Will, but almost faultless game from him. So that continues to mystify everyone. And what are we going to do? And who's going to be our fullback and the whole thing? And I guess we just need to worry about week to week. And he's obviously going to be our fullback this year. So to have him playing like that is just an absolute bonus.
Yeah, I mean, we saw this last year as well, that he came out flying at the blocks. And I think he does seem to fade in and out of seasons at times. That'd probably be my only criticism of him, really. And if we can just get this Will every week or close about, like thereabouts, I think we'll be in most games, I think we'll finish the season well. Outstanding, like safe as a house. Took some really difficult bombs with pressure on him. There was that one that you said, but I think looking back, we should have challenged that, because I do believe one of the Canberra players touched it. So I'm not even going to hold that against him, really. And he had some help out the back too with Sam and Sione. I thought they were remarkable as well. I thought Sam is really starting to win me over. I just want to keep seeing it, keep doing what he's doing, because like we mentioned before, like the runs just they have so much more intent than they did last year. And I don't know if that's just maturity or, Fitzy with some coaching or whatever it is, but he looks a different player.
It's probably just confidence as well, right? All of that and confidence. And yeah, he's doing terrific. Katoa, I think, is going unnoticed by a lot of people. Like, he was brutal out there.
Not me.
Some of those runs. Like, I know some people are like, oh, he can bust a tackle, who cares? It's like, it's not so much that. It's the fact that he doesn't give up on the play. He's going to get extra meters. He's going to tire the defenders out. And it takes the play into a bit of unpredictable territory, which sometimes the Sharks need, because if he's, in theory, supposed to be tackled on the side, but no, he's bounced over like 3 or 4 players that way. It just sets things up a bit differently. And as you said, Stone Street was excellent again. He's just had great game after great game, and really happy for him, happy for us. It opens up some great problems later on, which I'm not concerned about, right? Because they're good problems, and other clubs would kill for those problems. So we'll get to that when we get to it. And
I think also, Sam, on Sione, when people say, like he has these tackle breaks, but he's not going anywhere, it's more than just that, though. It's someone else has to make an effort to make a tackle. And if he's breaking 3 tackles in one run, someone else has to push up in the line, or he's pulling the defense apart, opening space for other people. It's not just, he's going side to side and doing nothing. Like, there are levels to that as well, I think. And just the hard carries he takes, and that off the scrum run that he's been designated to, love it. Like, I'd hope that is just a consistent play throughout the year.
Yeah, it was funny when Cooper Cronk called it. He goes, "Watch this, they're going to get a Katoa out of it." I mean, I think to be fair, early in his career, and let's not forget, he's almost a veteran now. Early in his career, he was probably guilty of the things that people criticize him of. But now it's like an art form. Now he's like, no, this is what I do, but I'm going to do it to the best of my abilities.
He leads the NRL in tackle breaks as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think there's also like the difference between Sam and Sione I like is that you don't have 2 wingers of the same style. Like Sam's like, the pace and the height and the jumping, whereas Sione's your hard worker. And not that Sam isn't, but Sione's your hard worker. He'll bust tackles. He'll give you a freak finish. I know he was unlucky with the stud out, but like they are different styles of players, which I really like.
Yeah, I think Sam's more of your classic winger
Yeah.
from 80s, 90s kind of vibe, and that's what he's sort of grown into, and that means there's more for him to reach as well, because wingers are so much more these days. I thought both halves were terrific. Trindle again kind of won the battle, but Nico did a lot of really good things that maybe he's not getting enough credit for this weekend. But I think people see him do the runs and look a little bit lost at the end of the runs, but they're not counting the fact that no one's running with him.
Yes.
I would suggest that 4 out of 5 times, he's looking to make a play for someone else. He's not looking to hog the ball, but no one's with him. And even I go, you look lost, dude. What's going on? But then I go, oh no, you just know I'm with you. And he gives him a little dirty look. Let me get on with it. And I think people find that really negative in his play, but they're not looking at the try assist. They're not looking at the defense. They're not looking at him being the flip side to Trindle. Like Trindle can't do it all. There's another guy there, and he's the other guy. So I was really happy for both those guys. They both seem really happy on and off the field. And, even a guy like Trindle who, and again, like people give me rubbish about this stuff all the time online, which you guys don't see, but people just as far as they go off the field, look, I'm not friends with Trindle or anything, but I see him around a lot more in the community, and he just looks so much more at ease as a person in his position in life. And when I mean that, I don't mean he's out there like claiming it, going, I'm a Sharks guy, I'm the Sharks halfback. He just seems like really comfortable talking to people. He's polite, he's kind, a bit cheeky, but the results are on the field are really showing. I mean, I saw him today in 2 different social scenarios, 2 different ones, and he was just really good representative of the club. And I'm only saying that because of what I said before, that he looks happy on and off the field. And again, like, for all I know, he's miserable. I don't know. I don't know the guy. But the way that they're portraying themselves in those situations is really good. And it does factor on the field. I think you can see as a team, they're not always happy. They do get annoyed when someone does something and, hey, why weren't you there? But they're a big friendly group, and that's going to take you a long way.
Well, that's accountability, Sam. You don't want just people, blowing smoke up your ass the whole time, or, the players going, oh, that's all right. No, like, you want to win. And if you're not in the position you're supposed to be in, you should be called out for it. And just on your point as well about the players, like, being a fairly social person myself, I go out after the games or on a night out and see them out all the time. And I haven't had one thing that I could complain about in terms of how they represent themselves or the club. Like, seen Tricky out multiple times, like very gracious, and there's no ego there. Like, in terms of when we got introduced to him one time and he said, hi, my name's Braden. Like, I was wearing a Sharks jersey and he still, he didn't go, oh, this guy knows who I am. Obviously I did, but he didn't, there wasn't that ego there of going, this guy knows or should know who I am. And lovely.
I think he's learned a lot from the huge error he made last year. And, we don't know what's going on. We're confident he won't do that again. We're not going to say we can't promise you anything, but he just seemed to have really matured in the last year or so. And that is evident on the field, is my main 100%. Point about that. You know what? Shock and horror, Josh, you and I we were texting each other. We were shocked that AFB can still do hit-ups. We were like, he's like a different guy. And that's a bit of a shot at everyone who was trying to bench the guy after a couple of average games, not even bad games. But AFB back to his best. And don't get me wrong, he was off his game the past 2 weeks, but you can't write off a champion like that after 2 games. Like, the guy's just done it all. And it was pointed out to me by someone who I won't mention because they probably wouldn't want me to mention it, but they pointed out to me today how late his season started, right? And finished last year, I should say. So he finished his rep footy in November and then didn't get back to Sharks training, I think, until the new year. And there are limitations on training and that kind of stuff. And it's probably only about now where he's kind of match fit, ready to go as far as the season goes. And that was, I have to say, that was someone else telling me about that. But it got me thinking, it's like, well, that could be a reason why he was a bit slow to start in the first 2 weeks. I can't even remember the Titans game. I'm sure he was great, but
He was.
That might be a factor. The point is, though, you and I were probably the least surprised at everyone in the world who thought about it, that he actually was going to have a good game. And you can see it in the first carry. It was terrific. And he had a really good game throughout. And he had to, because the Canberra forward pack are pretty good.
Yeah, I think he always seems to take those when there's a big bopper on the other team. He really that's when he seems to lift. I think it kept, the whole team, but as well him, kept Tarpanay really quiet. I thought we handled him extremely well, and we see AFB just pop out 220 meters, barely any missed tackles, post-contact meters, tackle breaks. Like, that was vintage AFB, like, at his best. And, not to get too far ahead, but he's going to need another one this week against his old club, when he had a pretty poor game last year against them at home, when there was a lot of hype around that, and he got manhandled by James Fisher-Harris. So it's going to be another test for him.
Yeah, and I think he has to be at his best for us to do what we want to do this year. So I'm not disputing that. I love the fact that they handled the offloads really well against Canberra, because that historically has always gotten us. We actually had more offloads than them, which was great. And that was important for us to roll forward. So I love both sides of that offload situation. But even with a guy like Big Joe, like, they just really, you can see it. If you have the time, go back and watch the KO, and you'll see some of it, the mini, I should say. Or if you've got time, go watch the whole game again if you weren't looking for it. And you can see, like, third man in, kind of not even involved in the tackle, but ready to pounce as soon as someone would try and offload. So it was a real tactical thing last week, and the more they can do that against some of those teams, the better. And I loved Oregon Kafusi. I should say there's a new episode out with Oregon and with, who did I talk to today? Sif Talakai and Tall Tom Hazelton. And Kafusi was great last week. And he's a guy that people look at the numbers and go, and this is an episode picking on people, by the way. My experience from hearing from people is they look at Kafusi's numbers and go, what the hell's he doing? But you need to watch the way he's doing what he does. He cleans up a lot of defense. Last week, he brought back the offload, which was pretty destructive. And there's just so much upside in this guy. I'm convinced we need to keep him for as long as we can. He's like 24 or 25, Josh. He's played 140 NRL games, including the grand final. There's no downside to him. I know people want him to be AFB. He's never going to be AFB. You need to get that out of your heads. He is like a Matt Pryor compared to Andrew Fafita, but he's not even Matt Pryor. There's just something else about him and that body that he's got, where he gets through his work, you barely notice it, but he's out there doing really good stuff.
Yeah, I think he's like the epitome of when you don't notice him, he's at his best sort of thing, which is a compliment. Like, he does a lot of that boring stuff. He's not AFB who's going to run 250 meters a game, or, this massive charge like a Toby Rudolph kamikaze, but he does a lot of cleanup work, like you said. Like, he barely misses a tackle a season. Like, there were a couple of bad ones last year, obviously, but
sure.
He just provides something different that the other guys don't have, where he'll just, that late offload that creates the second phase. We saw it nearly led to a try. But when he needs to, he'll pull out a big run. Like, he has that in him.
Yeah.
And like you said, I think he's just a really good bench option, like 20 minutes in and out, do your job, get off, give the guys a break.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Now, let's talk some negatives, because it wasn't all positives. We did concede some tries. Some of them were really hard to defend, I have to say. Like, not excuses, but those ones by the outside backs. Was it Savage's one, and the one early in the game with the offload from Hudson Young?
Weeks.
Yeah, like, they're just hard to stop. And I would imagine most teams in the NRL would have struggled to stop those tries. The one in the second half looked a bit more comical because we had 3 or 4 guys falling off them. But if you watch how it went down, it's just they're hard to stop those ones. However, both centers had, I would say, disappointing defensive games. I think offensively they were fine, got through their meters, etc. I think Kale scored a try. Jesse was busy, but both of them had off games defensively. Josh, what do you got to say about that?
Yeah, just on the tries, first of all, I mean, if you're going to concede tries, you want them to be tries like the ones on the weekend, where it's some flick pass and a lucky bounce, or some individual play where you go too good. Like you don't want it structural breakdowns, like I think we saw against the Dolphins, or those like the second effort after an offload, whatever. I mean, the Hudson Young one. I mean, what do you do?
Yeah.
Like, it's a freak around the back pass. The player doesn't even catch it properly. It bounces into Hudson's lap. It runs around.
Yeah.
Like, if like that, I would rather concede a try like that, or the Xavier Savage one where he's just talent, and even the KO Weeks one. It's like that's just a bad one-on-one miss from KO. Like that. Typically, like 9 times out of 10, that's not going to happen because you get thrown off and then you create that space as a winger on his own. On the centers, it's interesting. It's like almost the opposite of Kafusi, because you look at Jesse Ramien's stats and you go, it's pretty good, like 160, 150 meters, and his work rate was really good. But it's just on the eye test, it was really disappointing again. But then I kind of watched it back and I'm like, the runs and the effort and like the tenacity is still there from Jesse.
Oh yeah,
I think it's all in his head. Like I think he's really consumed with not making mistakes and trying to shut down plays and kind of be the hero defensively that it's costing him and the team.
Yeah, I think he's thinking too fast in both. Like when you see him like mess up a play the ball, you're like,
he wants to do a big play the ball.
It's criminal. It's criminal, but it's like I know you know how to do it, so I'm not worried. It's just like stop doing it. And with some of the defense, the effort's there. He's not really getting fooled. It's more just he's there too early or he's there too late, and that causes ripples in the line. We know. So whilst I thought it was a better game from Jesse, it's just that thing that where they're all going pretty good, someone's going to be the least pretty good, and it was kind of him. But I have to point out that KL, who's usually just dynamite, he's had a couple of sus weeks. And again, it's a bit like the AFB thing. I've seen enough to go, I'm not worried about KL Euro. Like, he knows how to tackle, he knows how to run. Maybe he's injured, maybe he's not sleeping, maybe he just got beat. I mean, that Sasagi guy was pretty good in the weekend. Like, he was like, I thought,
and he's a back rower.
He's a back rower, and I thought, that'll be fine. But he actually was almost man of the match. And sometimes when you have those kind of unconventional guys in those positions, they're just hard to defend. So KL, I don't think is a problem. It's just he sort of needs to improve a bit. And Jesse, if he cleans up that stuff, I don't think people are going to have the problems that we're hearing from. And as I said, in a game where we went pretty good, errors were pretty minimal. It's getting to the crunch of a game. You see a guy muck up a play the ball, it magnifies everything. And I'm not excusing it for 1 second, but it's just like, it's also not crime of the century. It's just something that happened. It's regrettable. We don't want you to do it, but it's one of those tough ones where I personally don't want to hang the guy out to dry. Like I'm just like, I know you're better than this dude, and you've shown it. You've ran for it. You've got the second most run meters for us. I know you care. So the problem will be, though, of course, if that happens against a better team or in a final or grand final, then all bets are off, right? So when you get to that level, you need to lift.
It's interesting, Sam, as well with KL. I think I've got down here that he missed 24 tackles all of last year, and he missed 9 against the Raiders.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy. Like, that's basically half of his tackles of a season. I know it's a short season, but like, I'm not worried about that. Like, I have no doubts that that's something that he's going to be really focused on because he prides himself on his defense. Like, was being talked about as one of the, if not one of the best defensive centers in the comp.
Yeah.
So he'll fix that up. And with Jesse, it's just like, I can cop a drop ball to play the ball. It happens. They're exhausted. It's hot. You're trying to get a quick play of the ball and you rush it. Like Sam did it. You know, it happens. It's just like some of the defensive situations where it's like, Nico gets caught at marker for that Tamale try. Nico gets caught at marker, wrapped up. So Jesse pushes in and leaves Sione to defend three guys on the outside. You know, it's like you need to just hold and wait for that guy to come across and help you. Like, the jamming in is necessary at times, but not when it's 4-on-2. Like, you've got to kind of just wait and just someone's got to get across. And someone was trying to come.
Yeah.
And it's just like, he's just like, I'm going to shut this down. And it's not going to happen when it's 4-on-2.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll see what happens moving forward. It's all there for him. If he has a great game this weekend against the Warriors, it'll go a long way to people sort of calming down a little bit. I do find it fascinating that Jesse Ramien's our biggest problem in life. You know, like if that's our biggest problem on the field,
going okay.
I'm kind of okay. Yeah, it doesn't make it okay if he's going as bad as what people think he is. You and I perhaps don't think he's going that bad as what people think he is, but yeah, if that's your biggest problem, I
also,
can live
Sam,
with that.
he made that try saver one-on-one tackle late in the game when the Raiders were coming hard, and there was that fifth tackle. Sione jammed up, missed his tackle, and Jesse swallowed him, and Nico came late to seal it. But like, there are still those signs of, you know, he's still doing good things. Like, he's not completely washed, but we can't keep doing what we've been seeing the last 2-3 weeks. Like, that can't continue for another 10 weeks.
Yeah, and I'm sure he's aware of that. I'm sure he's had discussions with that with the coaching staff, and we'll I think it's a watch this space, because I agree. If he keeps having those negatives in the game, it's something will sort of come to a head. But I don't think we're at that point. I know that'll upset some people, but I personally don't think we're quite there. So overall, a good win, a much needed win, that's for sure. It definitely relieved a lot of pressure. Like, it felt pretty good. I felt pretty good personally, just like, you know, I thought they deserved it. They played really well. I was really happy the way they played, and I can cop the 22 points because, as we've said, a couple of freaky tries. So we had a couple disallowed. It probably should have been a bigger margin. So I'm okay with that. And Canberra, look, we've had recent success there, but before that, we couldn't win for 10 years. So I'm totally cool with what happened down there. And yeah, I thought it was all around good effort, good coaching. The whole thing was pretty positive.
It was good to know that we were still good. You know what I mean? Yeah. It was just like, oh, we're not completely useless, and we know we've had a couple of losses, but it was like, oh no, we are still as good as anyone in the comp. And like, I know the Raiders have only won one game, but they're a good side. They've pushed everyone they've played, really. Like, nearly beat Dogs on the Bell. You know, lost to us. It's positive signs.
Yeah, for sure. And you know, the Dolphins game, if it stays 18-10, we're probably not as sad as what happened in those last 5 minutes. So, but it did happen. We can't hide from that. Sharks win 34-22, currently in 9th place, playing the Warriors this week, which we'll get to shortly. Now, Josh, I don't know how you like to spend your Good Friday, but if you want to spend a Good Friday and make it really good, head down to Ocean Protect Stadium, because the 4 junior teams for the Sharks are playing from midday through till about, I think, 6. I think the last game's at 4:30. So the two boys, the 2 girls, so to speak, excuse the references there. Don't know whether it's men's or women's. I'm getting pretty uncomfortable talking about it. But the junior reps are playing on Friday. Good Friday. So you can have 2 days in a row. No, not 2 days in a row. 2 days this long weekend at the greatest stadium in the world. While we're doing shout outs, I have to say, Josh, breaking news, it's nothing bad. On Sunday, you can imagine a lot of people, they go to the game and they're like, oh, I might go to Bay Central and grab a bite, or I might go to the Shark store more specifically, grab a new jersey, whatever, grab a flag. So the complex is shut because it's Easter Sunday, and the Shark store is 100% not open that day. Just so they wanted me to let all of our listeners know. It's got nothing to do with the club. It's just the whole precinct itself is mostly shut. I don't even know if you can get in, but you can park there, I believe. But the actual shops are shut. So don't go to the Shark store. They'll have merch in the ground. So there's merch in the ground. That's all as per. And on the merchandise, the good news for our friends in Perth is that the merch is coming to Perth. They're flying the merch over. So next week when we play the Roosters, you can get your merch, your official merch. And the king of merch, our mate Barnsey, is going to be over there. So make sure you tell him that we sent you there. So that's just a little bit of admin there for everyone. And you can watch the Flag team play before the NRL team on Sunday as well. So that's what's going on with some of the lower grade stuff. There's a lot more to catch up on. We won't do it in this episode. Maybe another one down the track. We'll talk more lower grades. To my knowledge, Josh, there's not a lot of news around as far as contracts this week and that kind of thing, correct? For us.
No, it's all been Manly and Dogs this week.
And very, sneaking up on us is Flano 0-4. We love Flano, but we don't like the Dragons, and there's a lot of Dragons talk around. Mate, it's just so good that it's not us. So, so not much contract stuff there, but we do know we have got a bunch of contracts to get through this year. So watch your space. Not sure who's up next. Not sure what they're going to do there. But yeah, another promo for our interview episode, which is out already. And Talakai goes into great detail about how he felt signing for the Bears. And as a spoiler, he was quite sad. A great chat with Tom Hazelton. I have him on the show quite a lot, Josh, but this was probably our best chat, our most kind of in-depth, just sort of, tall man to shorter man, just great chat. And why do I keep forgetting who else I spoke to? Who else did I speak to today, Josh? Someone else.
It was Sifa, it was Tommy, and it was Oregon.
Oregon, yeah, sorry. So great chat with Oregon, very quietly spoken man, but really gave me a lot of his time, and he's just a really good fella. So go listen to those interviews when you have time, please. Josh, what do you make of the NRL currently? You like it? You like the six again? Seems to have calmed down a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's helped the enjoyment a little bit. The first 2 weeks were pretty.
Yeah,
I found them pretty tough to enjoy.
Yeah,
but this weekend I really it kind of felt like it locked back in a little bit. Just with some of the games were better. I don't know if that's just better matchups as well. I may have won a few dollars on the punt as well, which may have helped. Full disclosure, and I just think it's so.
You're a Greg Marju guy, aren't you?
No, I'm not actually.
Oh,
no.
Come on.
I was actually won quite a bit on the Sharks, to be honest.
Hey.
I'm finding it really difficult to find any sort of form guide for anyone besides Penrith. Like I'm kind of just completely discounting them because they're going to win the comp and they're going to do it in a canter. But
yeah,
I'm finding everyone else is just like so up and down. Besides, like Manly and St. George and Titans, you're pretty content on them being bottom four. Like the Raiders are a good side and they've won one game. The Warriors lose to the Tigers. Are the Tigers good? Are the Storm still good? It's good when you're a neutral, we're just watching all the games, but I can't pick anything at the moment.
Yeah, I don't know about the Panthers winning the comp. They're massive favorites, but if they do what they do every week for 27 weeks, because I don't know if we've seen them do that. We've seen them play very good years, but not like this. This is like, excuse the term, well, I'm not going to say it. This is like them in fast motion, right? Like just they just can't stop. And to do that for 27 weeks plus finals, I'm not saying they can't. I would never say this team can't do anything from what I've seen now, but it'll be very interesting if they do.
I mean, a big injury ruins anyone's season, right? You know, if a Nathan Cleary or a Yo or a Dylan Edwards, you know, look, they probably find a way to make it work, but it's quite a scary proposition at the moment. And I think in reflection of our performance against them, we've come out looking pretty decent, you know, all things being considered.
Yeah, it was a good. I'm not even being smart. It was a good sort of half an hour against them, and then we let them back in, unfortunately. So there's ways around it. There's ways to get them. They'll be beaten this year at least 4 or 5 times, you'd think. Hopefully we get them. Well, actually, I don't really want to play them in the finals, to be honest. Hopefully someone gets them. Anyway, this isn't Panthercast. This is SharkCast. Let's go to some of the mail, Josh. Everyone's pretty happy this week, which is good. I think they're happy.
A win does that, mate.
Let's start with our friend Mark. Good man, Mark. And he wants to talk about Nico. A couple of little things in regards to Nico versus the Raiders. And he's saying it because he's seeing online and in different places, as he calls it, a pile on. So, in other words, people are still being negative about Nico. He says we won by 12 points. Hines deliberately ran at Horsburgh, got him sin binned. The Sharks score 12 points when he's off. If Brayley did this, they'd be all over the cleverness, right? The last play where he put the left grubber kick in, followed it through, the Raiders have been spilling the ball all game. He did it again, cleaned it up, and passed it to Jesse C to score the match winner. Some people may not see that as important, but the coaches do. Don't get me wrong. We are better off with Trindle in the main role. Just don't discount these little things. Along with the assist to Burns, they turned out to be crucial in the game overall. Throw in his defensive workload, 30 tackles at 81%. I guess that's what's that mean? Tackle efficiency maybe or something?
Yeah, tackle efficiency, yeah.
Third behind Brayley and Burns. He's tackling way more than Trindle. He also ran for 100 meters, which is more compared to Tricky. This is not slamming Tricky at all, more emphasizing the workload that Nico is taking on. So that's from our friend MD Horn, and that's some very wise words there, I thought.
Yeah, and I think it's perfectly encapsulates what a good halves pairing is. You know, not one should do one or the other more. I should say someone shouldn't carry all the workload for all facets of the game. So Tricky runs a couple of times a game, but realistically, he's plotting and scheming and setting things up for the guys around him. And Nico, that frees Nico up. And I know we've all said this 1,000 times, to just run and pick his moments. And look, for every 10 Nico moments where he runs, he might run into a dead end 5 or 6 times, but it's that 4 times where he puts a grubber through or sets someone up on the outside or pokes his nose through. And look, I don't think he's playing anywhere near to his potential yet, but I don't think he's going as bad as some suggest. Oh, there's probably 3 or 4 moments a game he'd like back. But it's like you said as well, there's times where he's trying to create something for someone and he's just running flat and there's no one there to support him. And look, sometimes that may be just on him going away from the plan, but there's times where it's like he's trying to create, someone needs to push with him, you know? And like you said, there's a few times as well where he's barking at people for not being there, but I think he's going fine. I'm not saying he's been outstanding, but I don't think he's been rubbish.
Not at all.
The kick in front would have helped because we went and dropped it about 3 tackles later and put ourselves back under pressure. But
so I've had lots of people talk to me about, and to be fair, I haven't watched that moment back closely, and I probably should do it this week. But people, or maybe it was people at the ground, I can't remember. People were reporting on it from somewhere, and they were saying like his legs were shaking. I think because of cramp or because of something. These legs they didn't look right when he kicked it, and that's a reason, I guess, to shank a kick. So again, I'm not really concerned. It was just kind of an odd moment, I guess, because when I'm at home watching the game, I make notes on my phone to bring up in the post game show, and I just do a little score tally along the way. 35th minute, da da da. And so I don't usually put the kick in just to be superstitious. I'm just like, I won't put the kick in, but it was right in front, so I did it. I went Nico Hines, and we went up by 14, and then I think Vossi or someone was like, "Oh, stop! Hold the phone. We haven't. What's happened here?" And I'm looking at the score going as one of my workmates got the score wrong. I couldn't believe it. But again, it's not a huge deal right now. So, but thanks to Mark for those great words about Nico Hines. Shout out to our friend Stephen, or as he's commonly referred to as Stats. He's in Perth. I met Stephen the night I met you, Josh, at the Royal Motor Yacht Club in Port Hacking. Yeah. Both of you had way too much to drink. Very different kind of personalities on the night. But Stephen's a great fella. He was on the show, post-game show after the Melbourne game, I want to say, last year, or maybe it was the Canberra game. Might have been the Melbourne game, one that went forever, and he came on. He was so cool. He's a great man. He's involved in like footy over there. So just a shout out to Steve. I'll get to your mail, I think, on another episode because it's a bit just different what we're talking about tonight. But thank you so much. And shout out to Susan who sent us a little note. Now, I'm going to watch my language here. This is from Buck Witt. And he was watching... Who played last Friday, Josh? Was it Brisbane and the Cowboys?
Oh, you tested me there.
No, it wasn't the Cowboys, was it? They beat Melbourne. Brisbane and the Dolphins? Does that sound right?
Yeah, it was. Warriors Tigers into Brisbane Dolphins.
There's a battle of Brisbane every week now.
3 weeks.
Anyway, Buckwheat was watching the Broncos Dolphins game and said both teams have so much creativity. Our team runs up and gets tackled, hoping for a break is not going to cut it anymore. So a bit of negativity there. That was before we played Canberra. So he was still smarting after the Dolphins game himself. So I'd like to hear what Buckwheat thought about the game post that. Now, thank you to Logan, who was in touch, wrote to me about some lower grades. Nothing really to read out there, but thank you very much. Now, Lee said, just again, very nice words. So thanks for all the content we do. Let's hope the week is more positive after a win. We must have the most pessimistic fan base. I don't know if I'm allowed to comment on that because all of our listeners will never listen again. No, I think every rugby league club is like that, right? Like we're all as bad as each other until we win a game, and then things are a lot better.
Look at some of the Dragons things going on at the moment. It is grim.
I just read that the Bulldogs were getting death threats for the team list on Tuesday. Like they announced their team and they're getting death threats.
They had to block people from commenting on their Instagram and Twitter because people were hammering them.
Like again, imagine if your club was that club and your worst problem was you're picking Berto Bomb and Galvin. Like,
yeah.
Like you might be annoyed, but it's not worth killing someone for.
Jeez, yeah.
So our fans definitely can be pessimistic, yeah, and that's just part of sport. We feel it. I understand people's reactions, good, bad, and indifferent. I honestly
it means
do.
You care. It means you care about something.
Absolutely,
it's good to care.
Absolutely, and I think that people don't understand how much I feel, what I feel, and what everyone else feels because I think they think I'm a bit wishy-washy or whatever. But if someone gets so upset they want to, I understand it. And as you say, it's because they care. I think there's a way in which you need to handle those emotions. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. And in particular, don't go writing death threats to people. But anyway, Lee's also having a bit of fun calling us the most pessimistic fan base as well, so I appreciate that. Now, what have we got here? So Sean wrote to us. When did he write this? Friday. Sean wrote to us post Dolphins before Raiders. And he, on the live stream after the Dolphins, made a joke about the Sharks changing their name from the Sharks Have Heart, which is their community name, to maybe calling it Sharks Have No Heart. And I think I kind of must have frowned or did something on the stream because he wrote to me, which is very kind, and said, sorry if it made you upset. That's just how I felt. I had my surprise 30th birthday and my Sharks cake. And my cake was a Sharks cake. I was in my Sharks jersey and I was having a great time until I watched the game. And then I felt deflated. So that was his 30th birthday, the Dolphins game. And I explained I wasn't offended. I just kind of, it's almost like, I'm not going to say live TV, but it's a live situation where if someone says something, it's hard for me to have a poker face at someone. It was actually a pretty good joke, to be honest, as much as I love that community. Anyway, Sean is a massive fan. He currently lives near Wagga Wagga. He was going to Canberra. I haven't heard from him since, but
maybe celebrated too hard.
Well, no, he was a bit worried about petrol prices. And I laughed because this is where we're at in life. I'm laughing.
Yeah,
like it's not funny at all. The Prime Minister just had a national press conference about it, which I missed. Anyway, Sean has a lot here to say, which I'm going to respond to. But he did predict this. He said, I wanted to see Hazleton drop to the bench and Rudolph start. And the other one is he wanted Nickera off the bench and Wilton on. So a bunch of that happened. So I'm assuming that Sean's happy this week after all that happened. And we didn't really talk about it, but Toby was great off from starting and Tom was great off the bench. So it really kind of worked. So Sean, what else you got here for me? If he says sorry for the long-winded message, no, don't be sorry at all. Appreciate it. And he's also saying if we ever want him to come on the podcast, to tell him how I helped the team win the grand final in 2016. Well, that is intriguing. I'll give you that. That's intriguing. Now, David has sent us a video from 1988 Gold Coast versus Cronulla. So I'll send that to you later on, Josh. Thanks for that, David.
I think I saw that. Was that the ET try?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I saw that today. It was good.
I'll have to catch up on that. Now, Stephen wrote, one of the many Stevens who listens to the show wrote to us, and I've done something weird on Instagram where I think it was me, the disappearing message situation. So I don't know how I've done it, but this feature is turned on. And I know Stephen wrote to us this week, but it actually says he wrote to us 48 weeks ago. So Stephen, if you know what I'm talking about, I'm so sorry. Wade is up next. He said, great win in Canberra. Stoked to see the boys hang in every time Canberra got back into it, which is a great point. Every time the Canberra came back, we hung on, we got back into it. It seemed like they had the momentum, but we somehow kept the lead and got the points. Thought AFB stood up. Rudolph starting seemed to work as well. Shout out to Hines. I thought he came up with some really important stops in defense. I'm sure it's been spoken about, but I thought Jesse was disappointing again. Jesse Ramian, both with the ball and without. I did think in defense, most of the team, their first contact wasn't that good. All in all, though, a great bounce back win, much needed. That's from Wade. Canberra pretty tough to get first go, right, in defense. Contact.
Strong, big, fast side, yeah.
Yeah.
I did notice that, though.
Who's the center? Like Chris, like he's just this huge dude. Like they're just
he's an animal.
Yeah. So I think out of all the teams, Wade, to your point, they're one of the harder teams to really, lock down. But thank you so much. Okay. Stephen, different Stephen. I believe in Brisbane. He wants to know if it's okay to discuss who he's signing and who he's not signing. I said, absolutely, of course it is. So this is who he's not re-signing for next year, okay? Katoa, McInnes. So I'll start again. Katoa, McInnes, Ramian, Rudolph, Ueli, and Kennedy. Now just wait, please. He's re-signing Stone Street and big, tall Tuku Tapua. The reason is, Josh is about to fall off his chair. The reason is he thinks this would create a war chest. I love a war chest. And he wants to make a play for the Hammer or any other speedy or X Factor players. He says, thanks, guys. Love the pod. Keep up the amazing work. So thank you, Stephen. Now, it is a list you've got here. So Katoa, McInnes, Ramian, Rudolph, Uele, Kennedy. That's a lot of the guys. You'd think they would keep 1 to 2 of them, maybe. I mean, we don't know, but maybe. Like, I think out of all those guys, you might be keeping Kennedy the way he's going. You might get Cam for 1 year. And you might keep Rudolph or Uele, one of them. The other guys may stay, and that may be a different way of looking at it, and the other guys may go who I've spoken about. So he's keeping Stone Street, so we like that. Good, cheap contract, no disrespect to Sam. A lot of upside there. He'll slot in for Katoa. He's keeping Tuku. I think it's just based on Moneyball, right? As well as potential. But yeah, I personally, Stephen, wouldn't let go of all those guys at once if I didn't have to. But he is saying he wants to create a war chest, so there is a reason why.
Yeah, I'm just worried about the letting go so many is just you've got to replace those guys in the squad.
Yep.
It's all well and good, and I think we do need a bit of a clean out. But it's just like, okay, if we're getting rid of 7 dudes and we're keeping 2, where are we going to find 5 guys off contract that are better than the guys we're letting go? That's my only caveat to that. And I mean, is Hammer off contract? I feel like the Dolphins are not going to, unless I'm sure he's saying someone of that caliber.
Yeah.
It's just how do we get them out of contract if they're not, and how much for?
Now, I do correspond with this Stephen a little bit, and I have to tell you, he's not a lunatic. So he's just
absolutely.
He's just going for the war chest vibe, and I like the story he's going for. So we'll see what happens there. Thanks very much. Now, Jay has sent me a bunch throughout the week. I really appreciate it. Let's go to this one. He said, seeing Trindle moving up the Dally M leaderboard again. Crazy that on some Sharks groups, they thought Trindle should be moved on. Crazy. I honestly think some people must be watching another game of footy sometimes, which is something that Josh and I can relate to. I guess that was a while back, though, right? They were trying to get rid of Trindle. It can't have been recently. But I trust Jay with what he's saying. Thank you very much. Now, Tim is very worried about Liam Eisen. And he's also concerned with the fact we're not getting much news. Now, I told Tim I would seek out the news. And Tim's going to be very mad at me because I actually spoke to Liam today, but I didn't speak to him about his injury. And I can't even tell you why, as in, like, I don't have a reason. I was just like, hey, what's going on? How's your day? Hey. And then he walked off. I was being polite. He walked off. I was like, I bet you Tim wants to know how his injury is. So I will keep finding that out for you. I'll keep seeking that one out. But it's a very important question. People have placed a lot of importance on his future for us. So he was at training. He's in the facility. He's doing stuff. So hopefully it's sooner rather than later. Shout out to Matt, who did some nice social things for us, some nice graphics. Listen to Sharks podcast, SharkCast pod, and put it on his socials. So thank you very much for that, Matt. And I wonder if that's everything. I think that's everything for now, Josh. And if it's not, we'll definitely get to it in another episode. Thanks, everyone, for being in touch. Really appreciate it. So, Josh, we have a game this weekend at Ocean Protect Stadium. It's our favorite place to go watch footy. It's very exciting. And we're playing the Warriors 2:00 on Sunday. Warriors are hard for us of late.
Yep.
I think they've won 3 of the last 4. They've won the last 3 at Ocean Protect Stadium.
Yeah.
I think 2 were by 1 or 2 points, very close games. Some really bad ones. There was one where we were winning by a bunch, and then we were all celebrating at halftime, and then they won, and then it rained on the way home, and it was just a really bad day.
That was the worst day ever. That was a really hard day.
The Sean Johnson last minute stuff, and
oh yeah,
they've had a good time over us. The last one recently we won was start of 24, that great round 1 win over in New Zealand, really tough, gritty one. And I feel like the last one at home was the one where we won with the 11 players at one point. Remember that? We were like down to 11 players. Will Kennedy, yeah. Yeah, so that was a while ago, obviously. So it's about time we got one back. 2:00, Easter Sunday, as some people refer to it. I guess you might want to get a ticket beforehand rather than just rock up and buy one at the gate, because it may be sold out. The Warriors will bring fans. We'll have some fans there, so you might want to do your research on that before you head down. Definitely buy a ticket if you can. At the moment, Josh, we are significant favourites, just looking at that kind of thing, which is not surprising, but I mean, they have won 3 games. I know they had a hiccup last week, the Warriors, but you wouldn't say they're out of form necessarily. So
yeah.
So our team is the same team that ran on last week. And then when we get to the bench, after you go through Talakai, Hazelton, Kafusi, and Uele, there's Mawiri Hiroti, Ohebapuru, Jaden Beryl, Michael Gabriel, and Britton Nikora has been named, Josh, with the broken honker at 22. So we'll wait and see on that one. I got a feeling if he's named and ready to go, I think we might see semi-final Britain come on off the bench, but I don't have any intel on that, so we'll see. I think it'd be a bit harsh on ULA personally, because he'd be the one that would probably drop off, I would imagine. Yeah. I'm speculating. So we'll see what happens there, but you'd think Britain is sort of too handy he's too much part of the furniture to let him out of the entire 17. Although it could be game day dependent as well. We'll see how the game's going, what the game requires.
Well, that's the benefit of the 6-man bench, isn't it? If Billy Burns goes down in minute 2, we've got a pretty handy replacement ready to go. And if we're struggling in the middle, maybe it's not, sorry, Britt, like ULE needs to get out there. So I guess we'll see how the game pans out. He might still be unavailable. We're not 100% sure that he'll even play, but I would assume broken nose, he should be fine to play. Just quickly, what's the go with not versing any Sydney teams at home yet? Why have they all been out of state, out of country? I think that's hurting the home crowd a little bit?
Possibly. I mean, I think both games were near sellouts, but yeah, I think so. I think it's just the way the game's going, right? Like, as I said, it's like Queensland derby every week. You know?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think Brisbane have left Queensland at this point of the season yet. But on that. Yeah. We don't verse a Sydney team at home until round 9, which is the Tigers on a Sunday. So just a little observation there. But yeah, I think I'm really struggling to it sounds bad, but I'm really struggling to bring myself to go, yeah, Britt needs to come back into the starting side at the moment. I cannot bring like Teague is a lock for 80 minutes every week unless he's injured. Like that's he's not ever being dropped, and Billy is just playing out of his skin. Like,
you're not going to find any trouble saying that, Josh. Like, I agree with you, and it's just a weird situation we're in.
Yeah, it was easy at the end of last year because it was like finals, and it's like, okay, everyone just lock in.
Don't mess
but
with
now
it,
it's like, you know, it's round 5, and it's is this going to be the precedent for the year, or like? It's got a tricky, because it could upset someone getting dropped or not played.
Yeah, I mean, he's not that kind of guy, but he's human, and after a while, if that's what happens, then maybe he will be upset, or maybe someone else who's a ramification because of that gets upset. I will say this though: if this sort of thing happens for the next year, well, then it might go down the way of the Talakai path where, because he's not on the money that people are speculating he's on, but he's also on really good money, So we're a long way off that though yet.
There are rumours that PNG are very interested in him.
I'm sure he's got a lot of life in him. I know he hasn't had the greatest start of the year this year, but he's an international. He's a good player.
Oh yeah.
But the other two guys at the moment seem a bit more switched on in what they're doing for the team. So looking at the Warriors, and man, they're a good team. I know they lost to the West Tigers, so that means they're not a great team. The fullback Tuapiki is good. I love the wingers. Now, they're not perfect, but they're out-and-out wingers. DWZ, RTS, try-scoring machines, meter eaters, handy under the high ball, one more than the other. And then you go to the centers, you got Charlton's Nickel Clockstead as well, who's pretty busy. So the back, I'm not going to throw in Adam Pompey, but the back 4 of the 5 are pretty good. Returning Luke Metcalf, he was quiet last week. First game since major injury. We know what he can do. He usually has a pretty good game against us. And then Tanner Boyd, who's like one of the form players in the comp, which no one saw coming. He's sort of like the Will Kennedy of the Warriors. It's like, we got to get rid of this guy. Oh, but he's like leading the Dally M's, So very good form from him. And then, I mean, Fisher Harris, don't need to tell you about him. Wade Egan is competent. This guy here, my mate Brooksy wants me in Origin. And I thought, Brooksy going off as usual, but the calls have come. Jackson Ford in very good form. Is he leading the Dally M's, or is close to leading the Dally M's? Jackson Ford. A lot of energy, a lot of meters, and a really good back row of Halasima, Laban, and Clark. Just 3 really tough, good, talented footy players, I should say. Sam Healy on the bench, we know what he can do. And a good, mainly younger, 2 guys are young. Also, Nikoro's there as well. But it's a good team, Josh. Like, we'll have to be on to beat these guys. We can do it. It's perfectly winnable. But the Warriors are a good team, man.
Yeah, they are. They are. On Jackson Ford, good player, loves a drop ball. Loves a drop ball. So pressure from the inside, please, because and whack him low and whack him at the ball, because he'll find a way to drop a ball. So good player though. He's not Mitch Barnett, who is out, which is a massive plus. Yeah. Good, like you said, really good side, really well balanced actually, and really well coached. With really good attitude. So they're not a side that beats themselves. You have to, I know that's such a cliche thing, but you have to play well to beat this Warriors side of this, the Andrew Webster era.
Yeah.
Looking for, I think it'll be one of the games of the round, actually, if both teams play well and if we get a dry track on a Sunday. Worried about the edges a little bit. They do cause a lot of issues. And Halasima as well is just an absolute freak. Like, such a good player. But yeah, like, I think I read something that like both the wingers have scored, like the Warriors wingers have scored tries in like the last 2 games against us or something. So like that is a little worry. And like Metcalf likes to feed early ball and he likes to run. So
yeah,
we're gonna have our hands full. I think it should be a good game. Aaron Clark as well at lock is like another guy that turned his career around. So
yeah, I guess the only flip side to that, Josh, or that, because I agree with everything you said, is that I go, well, our fullback's in great form. I'd say him and Tuapiki are on the same kind of level.
Yeah.
Both our wingers are going great. They're not in RTS's category, but they're going great. Like we can match most of these guys forward for forward, position, back to back, etc. Just a matter of turning up, doing it on the day. They are pretty disappointed in what happened against the Dolphins. Pretty embarrassed. But they turned it around last week. No reason to think they can't turn it around again this week. But yeah, turn up with a good attitude, play hard. You should be right. You should be right in most games if you have that attitude. They just didn't have it against the Dolphins. Are flat as anything, unfortunately. But really liked what I saw last week. And yeah, I'm very hopeful to head to Perth next week with 2 wins in a row. So
that would be great.
Yeah, it would be huge. We'll get to that one game at a time. Any predictions or anything from you, Josh, you want to talk about for the game?
I was worried after the game finished on Sunday. I was already thinking Warriors, and I was like, okay, how are we going to do this? Like, I was kind of stressing about it straight away. And then I'm just, as the week's kind of gone on, I'm starting to feel really confident. And I think we owe the Warriors for the last couple of times they've been here and really hurt us. I think they'll have a point to prove. AFB will have a point to prove because, as I said, he had one of his worst games for us against his old team last year. So,
well, last year was their biggest win in their club history at our ground. So, like they really, I think was it 40 to 10? They really shamed us.
Yeah, they put us. It was similar to the Dolphins, I think. The Dolphins game of this year.
Yeah. Similar. So they're aware of those kind of little bits of information, and you don't want to be in that team where you go, oh, that team playing us has their best record here currently. Like out of the when did they join? 95. Since 95, we've had decent record against the Warriors, but in the last 3 or 4 times I've come to Shark Park, it's been no good. So want to right the ship there. And I just had a quick look at the weather. I don't know how good my weather app is, but it's not looking that great for clear skies. So that could change. It's not always 100% right. So
do you think that works for or against us if it rains?
Well, the Warriors play in the rain usually, so I don't know. They're used to it. We're less used to it. It rains a lot at Shark Park, to be fair.
Yeah, there was something else I saw. I think it might have been like one of the footy podcasts that said our record in the rain is very good and the Warriors' record in the rain is very poor. So that could good. Maybe be a nice matchup. Are you going to be there on Sunday?
I will be there, yeah.
I'm not sure yet. Not locked in or out.
Okay.
But hopefully you can get down there. And
absolutely.
The last 2 times that we've lost these kind of heartbreakers or gotten smashed, I've been on dates.
Oh.
So I'm hoping that this one...
You could be on a date, but it'll be with the one person now, thankfully.
Well, yes, but I'm hoping maybe I don't go on a date and that will be the difference. Maybe that's...
Why don't you bring Alex to the game and make that the date?
Yeah, but then that's continuing the trend of being on a date and losing.
But have you been on
a true love date?
Well, it's a true love date, but have you been on a date at the footy and lost, or just on a date?
I don't think I've lost with Alex at the football. She could be the omen.
There you go.
Maybe we'll have to sort that out.
I know that she loves the Sharks. You might as well do it.
She does. No, she does love Jesse Arthurs from the Broncos. That's her new boyfriend.
A bit indifferent on Jesse personally. What's the alternative options to go into the footy? Well,
if it's going to be raining, we'll probably be coming from Coogee.
No, but what else would you do? As in going out on a date?
Oh, probably drinking and gambling.
Well, you can do that at the footy.
That's true, and we would, and we have.
There you go. Romance is alive at Ocean Protect Stadium. That's for sure. All right. Well, you might see Josh down at the footy. You'll definitely see me for whatever that's worth. And it's going to be fun. So get down there if you can. If not, we'll talk about it afterwards and we'll talk about it in the weeks to come because this is what we're here to do. SharkCast pod, covering the Sharks. And Josh, thank you for your time. Really appreciate it. Always fun to grab you. And we will talk to our listeners and viewers real soon. Until then, Josh, have a great week. We'll hopefully see you and Alex at the footy for date day. It's not date night, date afternoon. Come on, man. It's Easter Sunday. Bring some chocolate eggs. Chuck up a couple of me. I like white chocolate. I'm okay with the other chocolate, but I'm a white chocolate guy as well.
Okay.
Yeah, you should. Yeah, tell her I said, you know how much she loves my opinion. Tell her I said that you should come.
I'll try and make it happen.
That Sam, he's so mature and nice.
That's not too far off.
She really doesn't know me at all. All right. Up Cronulla. Let's get those Warriors this week. Thanks for your time, Josh. Appreciate you.
See you soon.